Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to Japan Study Center. Today we are going to see the chapter of political science. And what is our topic today? Today we discussion most important chapter here, environment and natural resources. You know that that's the most important chapter, class 12 cbse ncert political science here. The most important chapter, but here a point arrive here that's important. The point here, meaning, definition of environment. That's important. Means definitions of environment. The word environment is made up two words. The word environment is made up two words. Involvement. You know that two words. Paris and involvement. Pari, which is all around us. All around us, Pari. An involvement which is surrounding us from all sides. The all sides, the environmental literacy is mean surrounded from all side. Surrounded from all side. Environment is a holistic unit of all those physical, chemical and biological factors that affect our living or ecological population and determine their form and the life and survival. That's important. The living or ecological population and determine their form, life and survival. That's important. An environment is that which is connected with the every living beings. That's important. Environment is that which are connected with the every living beings and it is a way present around us. That's important. Environment is that which is the connected with the each other. And there is the environment here surrounding for all sides. The environment literacy mean here surrounded from all sides. That's important. In generally, since it is an entity made up of aggregate of all biological and non-biological elements, facts, process and events that affect our lives. It is a prevalent all around us and every event of our life take place within it, and we human also influence the environmental with all our activities. In this way, there is an interdependent relationship between on the organism and its environment. That's important. In this way, there is an interdependent relationship between an organism and its environment. That's important. The biological component of environment include everything from a microorganism to insect. You know that biological component of environment include everything from a microorganism to be insect, animal and plants along with all the biological activity and process associated with them. That's important. The everything for the microorganism here, environment include here. The biological component is the microorganism to insect, animal and plants. That's important. Biotic component include a non-living element and the process associated with this such as a rock, mountain, rivers, air and many things including element of climate etc. That's important. There is a here biotic here included everything is a microorganism to the insect, animal and plant along with there is a biological activity. And abiotic here, there is abiotic is a rock, mountain, river, air and many things including element of climate etc. That's important. You know that in the year 1974, the United Nations Generally Assembly was organized by the United Nations. There is a 5 and 16 June 1972 on the subject of human environment. That's important here. In there is the year 1974, the United Nations, a Generally Assembly put organization by the United Nations. But 5 and 6 June 1972 on the subject of human environment. Let's see introductions here. Generally, the environment is defined in the context of man, and man in the declare a separate, entire, and all other things around him are the declared as the environment. But is also is a world nothing here that there are still many human civilizations on the earth which do not be considered themselves separate from the environment, and in their eyes entire nature is a single unit of which the human are also a part. That's the most important here. The activities of extensive tampering with the nature by the technological man to be achieved. Economic goals and luxury goals in a life have destroyed the balance of natural environment, due to which there are every extent of the natural system. Natural system or system is a danger. Such a problem are this called environmental degradation. There is a problem are called environmental degradation. Environmental problem like a pollution, climate and change, etc. And then let's see short form here environmental introductions here. You know that very shortly on your screen in the next here. The shortly here, first of all, environment. Environment pari means upper plus cover. There is cover which cover the plants and animal from above. Originaries in the considered the father of environment science. You know that's important. There Originaries is the considered the father of environmental science here. And natural resource mean for the human user obtained from a nature. Means for a human use to the obtained from a nature. The extent, progress and development of human life depend on the resources. Since a same time, man has been to fulfilling his need by the obtaining various types of things from nature. In fact, resources are those which are useful for humans. That's important here. There is short here. But next point arrive here. That is important. A point here. Factor responsible for the environmental pollution in the world. You know that is important. The factor responsible from environmental pollution in the world. You know that there is a most important point here. First of all here, population growth. The population growth of the polluted there is the world here. And next here, deforestation. Deforestation is the cutting of tree. That is a major factor here. There is a deforestation. There is a major factor of responsible for the environmental pollution in the world. And the next year, promotion of consumerist culture. That's important. The promotion of consumerist culture here. And the next year, excessive exploitation of resources. Excessive exploitations of resources here. And the next year, promotion of industrialization. Promotion of industrialization, there is a factor, is a measure. There is a major factor of promotion of industrialization. There is a reason that is responsible for the environmental pollution in the world here. The next year, exclusive mean of transportation. You know that transportation is a major reasons here. That's important. 6 point here. That's the most important for the exam view here. The next year, measuring to protect environmental pollution. Measures to be protect environmental pollution here. The first year, pollution control. Pollution control is important. And second year, forest conservation. Forest conservation is the most important. Because this is important. Use of environmental friendly technology. This third point is important. Use of environmental friendly technology here. And the next year, fourth, balance use of natural resources. Balance use of natural resources here. And the next, use of public means of transport. Use of public means of transport. That's important protections, environment pollution here. The next year, public awareness program. Public awareness program, there is a major factor here. There is a protect of environment. And the next year, international cooperation. International cooperation is important. There is a 7 point for the most important, the environment protections here. The next year, a book named Limit to Growth. There is a most important book here, a book named Limits to be Grow. What is this is here? A group of scholars concerned with the global affair, named here Clue of Rome. Write a book, Limit to Growth. Limit to Growth in 1972. There is a limits to growth in 1972. In this book, it was told that as the world as a population is increasing, there is a list to be growth here. The book told here, a world as a population is increasing, the resources are also decreasing. You know that's important. Population is increasing, resources are decreasing. Here, one full form is given here, UNEP. The UNEP is the most important organization here. The United Nations Environmental Program here. United Nations Environment Program here. That's important for the exam view here. Next point arrive here. That's important. The next point here, Rio Conference or Summit. You know that's important here. Rio Conference. That's important, and or Summit. That's important. In 1992, United Nations Conference focused on the issue of environment, and development was held in the Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and this called Earth Summit. This called the Earth Summit. Here, 170 countries, thousands of voluntary organizations, and many multinational companies participate in this conference. Know that important. 170 countries, thousands of voluntary organizations, and many multinational companies participate in this conference. That's important. Rio Conference, your Earth Summit. The next year, feature and important of Rio Conference, Earth Conference. That's important. The feature of Rio Conference here. You know that first point here, the growing concern about the environmental got concern from in the political arenas in this conference. That's important. The growing concern about the environmental got concern from in the political arena in this conference. Second here, it became clear in the Rio Conference that the rich and developed countries of the world. That's important. It became clear in the Rio Conference that the rich and developed countries of world, the Northern Hemisphere and the poor and developing countries, the South Hemisphere, are advocated of different environmental agendas. That's important. The next year, the main concern of the northern country was about the destruction of the ozone layer and global warming, while the southern countries were more concerned about resolving the mutual relationship between the economics, development, and environmental management. That's important here. The main concern of the northern countries was about the destruction of the ozone layer and global warming, while the southern countries were more concerned about resolving the mutual relationship between economics, development, and environmental management. That's important. And climate change in the Rio Conference, some rules were laid down to the regarding biodiversity and forestry. In this, some method of development were also suggested in the form of Agenda 21. The Agenda 21 is the most important climate change Rio Conference here. That's important. In this conference, the method of sustainable development was suggested, in which such a development was imagined, in which, along with the development, the environment is also not harmed. It is also called sustainable development. You know that what is sustainable development here? In the conference, the method of sustainable development was suggested, in which such a development was imagined, in which, along with the development, the environment is also not harmed. It is also called sustainable development. The next year, Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21 here? It was said that a method of development should be such that it does not harm the environment. You know that Agenda 21, that is the most important. It was said that the method of development should be such that it does not harm the environment. And see here, criticism of Agenda 21. Criticism of Agenda 21. It was said that Agenda 21 less attention is the beginning given to the environment and more attention is beginning given to development. That's important here. It is the environment and then more attention of beginning given to the development here. The next year, warning of the report, name of our common future. The warning of the report named our common future. In this report released in 1987, it was expressed that the currently method of economic development will not be proved to be sustainable in the future. That's important. Our common future. That report is the release year 1987. That's important. But next point arrive here. That's the most important here. The point here, attitude of developed and developing countries toward to environment. You know that's important. Attitude of developed and developing countries toward to the environment. That's important here. And first point here, developing country. What do you mean to the developing countries here? The developing country of North want to be discuss the issue of environment in the same form in which there is environment exist today. These countries want to that every country should be have equal responsibility in protecting the environment. That's important. The country want that every country should have equal responsibility in protecting the environment. That's important. The next year, developing country agree that there are damage to their ecology in the world is mostly caused by the industrial development of developing countries. That's important. And if developed countries have caused more damage to the environment, you know that's important. Development country have causing more damage to the environment, and then they should be also take more responsibility to compensate for this loss. That's important here. There's a environment that should be also take a more responsibility to the compensate for this loss, but not a compensate here. There's not a compensate of environment this loss here. Furthermore, developing countries are still going through there is a process of industrialization, and it is important that they are not subject to the same restrictions that are imposed on the development country. That's important. Furthermore, developing countries are still going through there is a process of industrialization, and it is important that they are not subject to be a same restrictions that are imposed on developing countries here. The next here, common property. The common property here is important. Common property refer to those resources which are not owned by only one person. That's important. Some property refers to be those resources which are not owned by only one person, but the entire community. There is entire community like a field, well, river. It also includes The Earth has atmosphere, Antarctica's sea surface, and outer space. There is not a oven. There is any one person, but their entire community, entire country. That's important here. Some important agreement in this direction like Antarctica threat. There is some important agreement in this direct like Antarctica threat is in 1959. And second here, Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol is in 1987 and Antarctica Environmental Protocol. Antarctica Environmental Protocol is in 1991 has been signed. That's important agreement in direction like this. Next point arrive here, that's important. The point here, global warming. Global warming is the most important topic for the all competitive exam here. There is a thin layer of ozone gas above the atmosphere through which the sunlight filters and reaches their earth. It protects us from the harmful ultraviolet ray of the sun. You know that's important. That's important because ozone layer is the most important here because it is a protect us from the harmful ultraviolet ray of the sun. There is a hole in the layer of this gas due to which now the sun's ray come directly to the earth and due to which the temperature of earth is increasing. That's important. The temperature is here increasing. Due to the increasing the temperature, the ice of glacier is melting rapidly due to which the sea level is rising and due to this the temperature in those places is increasing. But those who live near the sea are in the greater danger. That's important. There is a glacier is melting rapidly due to which the sea level is rising because there is the global warming. Global warming is causing is a harmful here and there is the living the near of the sea are the greater dangerous here. Carbon dioxide, methane and hydrofluorocarbon, these gas are the main causing of global warming. You know that the main reason here gas here, carbon dioxide, methane and hydrofluorocarbon. Chlorofluorocarbon is the most important to the harming there is a global warming here. And these gas are maintained causing of a global warming. And the next year, common but separate responsibility here. Common but separate responsibility here according to global warming. You know that global warming is an issue for the global level. That's important here. Therefore, the relation to be a protection of global commons wealth, the responsibility of development countries should be more and the responsibility of developing countries should be reduced. You know that that's important, common but separate responsibility here because global warming is not a one person's use here. There is all of world global warming is important and there is a common but separate responsibility for the all people here. The next year, Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is this is a protocol was agreed upon among the world public regarding environmental problem in 1997 in a Kyoto city of Japan. That's important. The regarding the environmental problem in 1997 is a Kyoto city of Japan. It's called Kyoto Protocol. In 1992, some principles were decided to this agreement and this framework of principle, United Nations Framework Convention and Climatic Change was assigned agreeing to it. And this is called to the Kyoto Protocol. That's important. This is called Kyoto Protocol here. India signed and ratified the Kyoto Protocol in 1997. In 2002, there is the most important. India signed and ratified the Kyoto Protocol here 1997 in 2002. India, China and other developing country has been exported from to the obligation of Kyoto Protocol because they did not contribute much to the emission of the greenhouse gases during the industrialization period. That's important. There is India and China. There is the obligation of the Kyoto Protocol. Reason being here, did not be contribute much to the emission of greenhouse gases during the industrialization period. The era of industrialization is considered responsible for the current global warming and climate change. That's important here. The industrialization considered is responsible for the current global warming and climate change here. The next year, forest provenance. There is important. There are some places in villages and villages which are there considered sacred. It is a belief that goddess and the goddess decide there this place. Another trees here are not cut. Whatever may be a traditional, but due to this practice, the tree plants has been saved. That's important. The conscious secular they believe that is God and goddess is inside this place. And there's a not cut a tree. That's important. Do not cut a tree. That's important word here. Next topic arrive here. That's important. And topic here important. India has a contribute in environmental protection. That's important. India has a contribute in a environmental protection here. That's important point here. India is one of the few countries in the world was the constitutional to have to special mention of environment. That's important. The India is one of the few countries in the world was the constitution have a special mention of environment. India has enacted extensive of environmental law and our policy reflect India as a initiative in environmental protection. Depth all the environment related bill, the environmental situation in India remain very serious. That's important. Environmental situation in India remains very serious. India has also contributed through the various program for environmental protection. That's the next point that's important. India has also contributed through the various program for the environmental protection here. That the India is the most important role here of environmental protection. First of all here, 2002 sign and the approval of Kyoto Protocol. India has a sign 2002 Kyoto Protocol here. And second, in the meeting of G8 countries in 2005, emphasis was laid on the reduction of greenhouse gas emission by the development country. That's the most important step for the India here. And use of clean fuel in a vehicle under the National Auto Fuel Policy. That's the most important here policy here. The use of clean fuel in a vehicle under the National Auto Fuel Policy. Next year, Energy Conservation Act passed in 2001. India has a Energy Conservation Act passed in 2001. That's important. In 2003, the use of renewable energy was promoted in the Electricity Act. That India is the most important step taking here. On 2003, the use of renewable energy was promoted in Electricity Act. And work on the national emission related to the biodiesel is going on the India. That's the most important take a step here. And also India is want to be build a consensus on the protection of their environmental by all the nations at the Shark platform. There's a most important mention here, Shark platform. India want to build a consensus on the protection here of the environment. The next year, National Green Tribunal means NGT. NGT is the National Green Tribunal. It was an important program here. Was established in 2010. The India there is established in the 2010 for the protection and conservation of environment in India. That's the most important NGT here. India is the first country in the world where there is a separate ministry for the development of renewable energy. That's an important step for taking the India here. There is the first country in the world there where is there a separate ministry for the development of renewable energy. Low per capita contribution in a carbon dioxide emission, America 60 ton, Japan 8 ton, China 0.6 ton, and India is here 1.28 ton. You know that's important. The low per capita contribution in carbon dioxide emission, America is 60 tons, Japan is 8 ton, and China 6 ton. But India here contribute a 1.38 ton. That's important. India has signed the Paris Agreement on 2 October 2016. That's the most important agreement here. And by 2030, India has set a target to reduce the emission intensity by the 33 to 35% as a compare to 2005. That's an important step for taking the India here. The intensity by the 33 to 35 as a compare to 2005. The target is reduced here. That's important. In a COP means COP is 23. India has a COP is 23. India will achieve 2.5 million hectare by 2030 through the tree plantation and increasing the forest area. It has been promised to create a sink equivalent to 5 to 3 million ton of carbon dioxide. That is important here for the exam view. Next and last point arrive here that's important for the exam view here. The point here, environmental movement. The environmental movement, that's the most important here. You know that discuss the all of here, but environmental movement, this is the most important. The environment movement, apart from the governments of different countries, environmental activities active in a different part of the world have launched many movements at the international and local level regarding the protection of the environmental, such as forest movement of South countries, Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia, Africa and India. You know that's important. The forest movement all over the world here. There is the country of Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia, Africa and India. That's important. The next movement here, movement against the mineral industry in Australia. There is a most important movement here. The movement against mineral industry in Australia, the movements against the big dam in Thailand, South Africa, Indonesia, China and India, of which the India has a Narmada Bachao Andolan is a famous. You know that the movement is listed as a very big, but some movement here, forest movement of South country, Mexico, Chile, Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia and Africa and India. The movement against the mineral industry in Australia. There is a mineral industry in Australia and the movement against the big dam. The big dam is Thailand, South Africa, Indonesia, China and India. You know that India has a Narmada Bachao Andolan is a very famous. But see the 3 point, a maximum two-sided Indian movement they consider here. That's important. The next point here, geopolitics of resources. You know that geopolitics of resources here. The main reason for the expansion of the European countries has been to the economic exploitation of the subordinate countries here. The more resources as a country has, the stronger its economical will be. You know that geopolitical resources, this important resources here. And there is a main reason for their expansion of the European country has been to economical exploitations of the subordinate country. That's important. The next here, timber. The timber is the most important. Based on country, capture the forest of other countries to be built ships so that their navy could be strengthened and the foreign trade could be increased. You know that timber is important. The western country and capture their forest of other countries to be built ships so that their navy could be strengthened and the foreign trade could be increasing here. The next year, oil resources. Oil resources is important. After the World War, the importance of those countries which had resources like uranium and oil increased. Developed countries developed troops on the sea routes for the uninterrupted supply of oil. You know that's important here. Oil resources. There is oil resources like uranium and oil decreasing. And developed country deployed troops on the sea routes from the uninterrupted supply of oil. That's important. Next year, water. The water is the most important here. There were a fight over to control and distribution of water. There are 4 claimants to be waters of the Jordan River. Israel's Jordan, Syria and Lebanon. That's the water has a fight over control. The fight over each other, there's a claimant to be the water for the Jordan River. Israel, Jordan, Syria and Lebanon. There is the most important here. The next year, native. There are native in the 1982. The United Nations described as the indigenous people. Those people who had been to the living in the present country for a long time and even later as a subject treated by their other cultures or castes. In India, the word tribes or Adivasi from Indonesia was used. Is a use for? That's important. No, that's important. Because 1982, the United Nations described as the Indonesia's people, those people who had been living in the present country for a long time. That's important here. And there is India, the word used here, tribe, yeah, Adivasi, for indigenous was used. You know that in 1975, the World Council of Indigenous Peoples was formed. That's important. 1975, the World Council of Indigenous People was formed. The main demand for the indigenous people is that they should be considered as a community with there is of an independent identity. Independent identity, that's important. And secondly, attention should be also be paid to be a problem of their displacement and development due to the project going on the sign independent. That's important here. There is 2 problems here. There is a main demand of the indigenous people that they should be considered as a community with there is of an independent identity. And secondly here, attention should be also be paid to be a problem of their displacement and development due to the project going on sign independence. That's important here. This topic was till this. We will be do their next topic in the next part. If you like it, then please like, share, subscribe and share the video as much as possible. Do not think, subscribe and save in your mobile.